Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Bracket Builders Podcast's live stream. Yes, the Bracket Builders live stream. Whew, first time I messed that one up. We have a great stream for you today. If you tuned in earlier today, you saw me and my co-host Kai running our way through the game Peak. We had some. We did not win, and we couldn't get past the new level they added. It's kind of diabolical. They did they did both spiders and they added spiders and zombies. It was just a whole mess. But that is not what we're all here for today. We have Magic the Gathering to talk about. And I figured, we're a Commander channel, and it's a Universes Beyond set. Piggies want their slop. So, we have a tier list ranking. So, we're going to be going through all of the commanders in the Avatar set, including the gigantic batch of commanders that are coming from the Jumpstart set. So, going to be a ton of fun going through all this, and just going to give you my thoughts on all of them. So, let's get into it with our first commander, Ka the Face Stealer. So, this is a cool one. 6 mana, 6/6, enters, exile up to one other target creature. Whenever a non-cooking creature dies, you may exile it, pay a life, choose a creature card, exile with it. Has all activated and triggered abilities of the last chosen card. One of the things I look for in commanders is uniqueness, right? If there's a commander that does something that no other commander does, I am way more likely to want to try playing that commander than I would otherwise. And this one is 100% unique. I've never seen anything like it before. It's almost like a creature that is turning in-play stuff into Soul Cauldron, like I have the Soul Cauldron like effect. But it's not just activated abilities; it's also triggered abilities. So, like if you feed Call a Vivi, right? You get Vivi's. You get the whole card. You get the non-creature spell, put a counter, and the make the mana when you activate it. This lets you double all kinds of different effects that you normally wouldn't be able to get. But it's strange, right? It doesn't... I feel like there's got to be some way to break this, right? This card was spoiled not very long before I got this video going live. So we're going to put this guy right here at the top of Unique. There's a chance that I wind up building the deck myself, and it becomes a personal favorite. But right now, nothing's jumping out at me as how I want to build this, and so it's cool, and it's something I'm definitely going to take a look at. But don't think I'll be able to put this one quite into peak design. But very cool card. All right, next up we have Lu and Li, twin tutors. This enters and lets you tutor for a lesson or noble, and it gives your nobles and lessons lifelink. I mean, it's fine. It does a good job at a 5-mana tutor creature isn't bad. It's a bit restricted, but lessons do a lot more than they used to. So, it's kind of 50-50. I think this one, it's a card that exists. I wouldn't quite put this into Draft Chaff. Draft Chaff is for literal Draft Chaff. You'll see what we mean when we get to an example. But like the vanilla commanders from Aether Drift, right? That kind of thing. Alright, so next up we have Aang, the Last Airbender. This is a 4-mana 3/2 with flying. It airbends something when it enters, and when you cast a lesson, it gains lifelink. Great. Perfect example. This is a piece of Draft Chaff. This is not very strong. It doesn't do much that's interesting. I suppose you could build like a blink deck around it and like flicker it and then use it to be airbending on your other stuff, but this is here to make the lessons theme happen. Every Team Avatar member has a card that cares about lessons because they want to make it work in the limited environment, because they build these UV sets so that way people draft the cards they like the characters they like rather, and then they can go from there with them. So this one's just Draft Chaff. No need to spend too much time on it. All right, next up is Appa, Loyal Sky Bison. It's a 6-mana 4/4. It does the Titan thing, where it enters or attacks. You choose one, and it's give a creature flying or airbend a non-land permanent you control. This is a card that exists. So we'll put it above the tutor. I don't hate this card, to be honest with you. In the command zone, I'm kind of meh about it. This feels like a bracket 2 version of Felia. But it's not terrible. Like, I would play this in a deck. Felia is such a strong card. Felia is such a strong card that doing it for yourself at a higher mana cost is honestly fair. This is something I take a look at. I don't think it's anything like the above a card that exists here, but I think it's fine. Next up, however, we have Appa Steadfast Guardian. Oh man, I love this card. Alright, 2 white for 3/4 flash flying. When Appa enters, airbend any number of other target non-land permanents you control. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. Alright, so Appa is going right up top to peak design or personal favorite. If I can, why can't I get it in there? Huh? I gotta scroll up. Ah, that's all. Appa is going straight to peak design or personal fave. Let me explain. So this was one of the first cards they spoiled to explain like what all the different bendings were. And I saw this and I was just like, oh, I'm building this deck immediately. Appa enters, you airbend every permanent that is not a land you control. You don't have to, but you're going to. And then you get to recast all of them and make a pile of 1/1s. Airbend, you have to pay the 2 to cast it from exile. So if you exile, my original plan for this deck was jam the deck chock full of like cheap artifacts, 0, 1s, 2s, and then kind of like flicker all of it with Appa, cast it for 0s out of exile because they already cost 0. Unfortunately, Airbend does not work the way I want it to. You do have to pay 2, so you can't pay less, which is interesting, right? So it just means there's a little bit more setup required for the big storm turn to go off. But I see this card as being a like an eggs commander in the command zone, but for like ETBs. It's like the second sunrise for your eggs effect in the command zone. Super excited to play this deck. I'm gonna be brewing this one not today, but very soon for a different type of video on the channel, which you'll be seeing hopefully next week. Very cool. I love this commander. Alright, next up is Master Peon Dao. 4 and a white, 4/4. First strike attack, look at top 4. Ally equipment and lesson. Great. This is a draft card. Awesome. I have a lot of those. Next up, we have Momo Friendly Flyer. 1 mana, 1/1 flying. The first non-lemur creature spell you with flying you cast during each of your turns costs 1 less to cast. Whenever another creature you control with flying enters, Momo gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Okay, so as a commander, I'm not super excited about it. Because remember, we're ranking these as commander. I think I'll put this above Appa here. I am very excited for this card, though, with Standard in particular. I think it's going to do a lot of work there. But in commander, I think it's fun. Alright, next up, we have Momo Playful Pet. 1 mana, 1/1 flying vigilance. When Momo leaves the battlefield, choose 1, make a food, put a counter on creature control, or scry 2. This is a cool card. We'll put it in card that exists. We'll put it below Momo Friendly Flyer. Really cool 99 card. That's what a lot of these card that exists are, right? They're good 99 picks. And this one falls in that category. Alright, next up we have Suki Courageous Rescuer. This is 1 white for 2/4. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. And whenever another permanent leaves the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 allied creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. This is really cool. This reminds me a lot of Appa in that way, where it does kind of the thing we want to see out of the command zone, where things are leaving, we get stuff for it. But it's got that limitation of once a turn, which Appa does not have. Limitations, though, aren't always the worst. We'll put this one here in... We'll put it in unique. I think this is a good commander. I think, like, this is a... maybe we rename one of these tiers. Yeah, I think we keep this to unique or strong. Oh, that messed my whole thing up. Let's do this. Unique. Oh. We'll do... What? My whole tier is breaking. Okay, there we go. Unique slash strong, right? This is just saying it's a good card. I like the card, don't dislike it. I think it'd be a fun commander. It feels like it'd be a little lower on the power scale, but still pretty fun. So, very nice. All right, next up, we have Gran Gran. 1 mana, 1/2. Whenever she becomes tapped, you draw, then discard. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast as long as there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard. Why is Grandma here? Grandma, go back to the draft bin. Like, sure, I guess, if you gave her the ability to tap and untap herself over and over again, you'd be able to draw your deck and flip it all in the graveyard. But, like, I don't think that's that strong. And mono blue lessons, there's not quite enough of those for this to do that. So, I think we're just gonna put this one. We'll put it at the top a little draft shaft. Sorry, Greg Gran. All right, next up we have Katara Bending Prodigy. 3 mana, 2/3. Beginning of end step. If she's tapped with a counter on her, waterbend 6, draw a card. Great. She's draft shaft. Moving on. Next up we have Master Paku. He's got prowess. He's a 1/3. When he becomes tapped, target creature player mills X cards, where X is the number of lesson cards in your graveyard. Add them to the pile of lesson draft shaft commanders. There's going to be a lot of these, like I mentioned. Next up, we have Teo Spirited Glider. This cares about flying creatures attacking, and you can discard cards and put counters and stuff. We're going to drop this one straight in the draft shaft where it belongs. All right, next up. Here we go, the Unagi of Kyoshi Island. This is a 5 mana 5/5 flash with Ward, Waterbend 4, and whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw 2 cards. This is a strong card, but I would call it boring. I don't think, as a commander, it's super exciting. It doesn't like do anything that makes me want to build it. I want to put this in a lot of decks, obviously, but putting it in the command zone, not sure about that one. Next up, we have Wan Shi Tong, Librarian. X blue for 1/1 flash flying vigilance. When it enters, you put X counters on him, then draw half X cards, rounded down. Whenever an opponent searches their library, put a 1/1 counter on Wan Shi Tong and draw a card. Okay. This card is going to go into peak design right here at the top. Not as high as Appa. I like Appa a bit more. But, guys, this card is going to mess up some formats. Even in the command zone, I think this card is good. Being able to... You can force searches pretty regularly in Commander, especially if you build around it. And all of those effects coming alongside a card draw is not half bad. Just like Field of Ruin your opponent. They all search. You get 3 cards. Turning any of those kind of like... Everybody searches their library for something. Wan Shi Tong then draws you 3 cards. And there's a lot of those effects in like Colorless Lands, Field of Ruin, Demolition Field, those kind of Ghost Quarter, all that kind of things. And there's also just like blue cards that do it too, right? So, very cool card. A absolute heater in the 99, and I think will be a wonderful card in the command zone, and I want to give it a shot. Next up, we have Yui, the Moon Spirit. 3 and a blue for 3/3 flying vigilance, waterbend 5. You may cast a non-creature spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. So, they spoiled this card a long time ago, and they showed it off without telling us what waterbend was. A lot of people guessed with from the showcase printing of this. But now that we know what waterbend does, it's pretty clear that Yui, the Moon Spirit, is unique and strong, but she's quite boring. Yeah, I mean, 4 mana for a creature that lets you essentially like Elvish Piper for 5 is boring. Non-creature spell too, so you're incentivized to just jam like extra turns or huge blue spells into this deck. Like Mnemonic Betrayer, I believe, is like the copy of the spell 5 times, or like Expropriate, that kind of thing. This is a kill on-site commander. It is strong, but nothing about it makes me excited to build the deck. So I'll put that one right in the top of strong but boring. Alright, next up we have Azula on the Hunt. This is a 4 mana 4/3 with firebending, and when she attacks, she loses life and make a clue. Great. This is a mono black commander, by the way. This Azula does not get the red pips from firebending. That is part of the reminder text. This is literal draft shaft. We'll move on. The Fire Nation Drill. Now, some of you may be looking at this card and going, but JD, that's not a legendary creature. That can't go in the command zone. It's a vehicle, and they changed the rules. If you remember, with Edge of Eternities, that legendary vehicles with power and toughness on the card can be your commander. And so I suppose you can put the Fire Nation Drill as the commander of your mono black deck. You're not going to, because this card is meh. When it enters, you tap it, and then you destroy a target creature with power 4 or less, and you can pay 1 to give those permanents your opponent's control, to have them lose hexproof and indestructible. So, like, commander that kill. I would honestly, I think it's strong, but it's pretty boring. Having access to a kill spell in the command zone, obviously it has to hit smaller things, but having a kill spell in the command zone that also attacks for 6 with trample, not the worst thing, right? Especially getting rid of that hexproof and indestructible. Could see this as the commander of like a mono black control deck. I think it's going to be very cool. I think I'm going to include it in a lot of decks, but not quite what we're looking for from a commander. And so it goes in strong but boring. All right, June, a Bounty Hunter. 1 and a black for 2/2. Can't be blocked as long as we've drawn 2 or more cards. Sack a creature, make a clue. Great. Thank you, June. You're a card that exists. I don't hate this card. A pay 1, sack a creature, make a clue. Activate only during your turn. The only during your turn's a bit of a pisser, but no, like, activate once each turn clause on this one, which is nice. So you can dump a bunch of creatures into June's ability and make a big old pile of clues. But mono black doesn't really have that much it wants to do with clues. I think she's going to do really, really good in a lot of other decks where she's not the commander. So I think it's a card that exists. My Scornful Striker. This is a 1 and a black for 2/2. First strike, when a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. This card's great. Very cool card. I think she falls into the unique, but we're going to put her in the top of strong but boring. She's very good in the 99 of your deck, but as a commander, I'm kind of meh about it. There's not really much ways to build around non-creature spells, picking them for 2, outside of, like, in mono black. So there's a lot of, like, Rakdos Punisher payoffs, but they're pretty much all Rakdos only. So this one's kind of not my favorite, but great in the 99. Play it there. Next up is Combustion Man. When he attacks, you destroy a permanent unless the controller has to deal damage to them equal to his power. Combustion Man. This card is pretty strong. So it's not. I don't think it's draft shaft. I think you could genuinely see this in a commander deck. Like, if you make this into a Voltron, I'm going to put him in unique but strong. Honestly, when I first read this card, I was like, it's going to be bad. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, actually, this is kind of exciting. He deals the damage, so you can give him lifelink and then swing and target their thing, and then he nugs them for a huge amount. And unlike other cards that are kind of like this, if they have him deal damage equal to his power to them, he doesn't, like, stop attacking. He's still coming for them. So if this could be a very interesting mono red Voltron deck. Just, like, get this guy huge, swing, target their commander. If they would like to keep their commander, they have to take 5-6 damage. And if you kill the commander that way, you're still coming in to hit them for whatever number he's at. But he starts at 4? Yeah, I don't hate this. This is actually a really cool card. I like to see this as a Voltron deck. Very cool. All right, next up, we have Zhang Zhong. Oh, no, that's not how I say that card. Oh, no. I should look this one up. I'm sorry, guys. I looked up a lot of the other ones, but I didn't look up the draft shaft. The Discerner is 2 and a red for Firebending 1, Exhaust. 3, put a counter on him. When you next cast a Lesson spell this turn, copy it. You may choose your cards with a copy. Okay, good. I don't have to talk about this card for very long then. Draft shaft. Great. Moving on. Alright, My Jaded Edge is 2 mana for a 1/3 with prowess. You exhaust her, put a double strike counter on her. I'm gonna put this card at the top of Strong But Exists. It's a card that exists. This card's strong. As a commander, I'm a bit iffy on her, but a 2 mana prowess double striker is nice. Obviously, you have to pay 3 mana into her to make her double strike, and in which case you paid 5 mana. But it's not really 5 mana. It's 2 mana, and then when you're like, okay, my next turn I'm gonna go all in on the prowess triggers. I'll double strike her now, and then your next turn you can untap it and go crazy with it. Plus, you can also like hold up a counter spell, and if you don't need it, pump the double strike onto her. If you're in a deck that's playing at instant speed, her in the command zone, I don't think would be doing that as consistently as I would like to for this effect. But she's gonna do some work in some of my decks that are playing a lot of prowess stuff. Next up, we have Ran and Shaw, 5 mana, 2/4/4 dragon with firebending and flying. When it enters, if you cast them and there are 3 or more dragon and or lesson cards in your graveyard, make a token that's a copy of Ran and Shaw, except it's not legendary. 4 mana, dragons you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Well, that's pretty good. This is a cool card. I don't know if I want to put it in the command zone. However, this is going to do a lot of work in Toolbox, which is always a good card for me. If a card can do well in Henzy Toolbox Tory, I'm happy with it. I'm honestly, this isn't that hard to pull off. Fun Faithless Looting and then like a lesson, and you're there. Like more one Faithless Looting, flashback Faithless Looting. So you're kind of like a rummage deck, and then your payoff is you get a 5 mana 8/8. And they can pump each other. Yeah, that's the firebending that pays for the pump, right? So this is Mono Red Dragons. I'll put him at the top of Strong But Boring. I'm more excited to put this one in the 99 of decks, but I think it will do some work in the command zone. Alright, Tai Lee, Artful Acrobat. 3 mana prowess, 3/2. She attacks, pay 1. Target creature can't pop this turn. Great. This is the draft Tai Lee. Thank you, Tai Lee. Zhao the Moonslayer. 2 mana 2/2, human soldier with menace. Non-basic lands enter tapped. You can pay 7 and put a Conqueror counter on him. As long as he has a Conqueror counter on him, non-basic lands are mountains. This is in peak design or personal faves. Right there. I think it's going to go below Wan Shi Tong, but mono red Blood Moon. I love Blood Moon effects in Commander. Obviously, they are mean, but they are only annoying when you don't see them coming, right? If you put this guy in the command zone and go, hey guys, you want to fight against my mono red Blood Moon deck? Everybody knows they are on a timer until the Blood Moon is coming down, guaranteed. Obviously, you can still just cast Magus of the Moon for 3, or Blood Moon for 3. And this is like, what, total 9 mana to get him into play? But it's fine. You're going to be playing a bunch of Firebenders in this deck. Something that Mono Red is going to have a lot of cool access to going forward, which is nice. This is a very cool card, and also just like, honestly, the fail state of non-basic lands entering tapped on a 2-drop is really good. Yes, it does the Blood Moon thing, but it's also Thalia, Guardian of the Raven, right? Is that yeah? It's Thalia, and all the other lands are coming in tapped. It's great, very cool. This is gonna be honestly, I might build this deck unsleeved, just wrap it up in a rubber band, and just be like, yeah, I have 40 mountains, and then a bunch of draft creatures that just kill you, and it might be just a great bracket 3 deck. Very cool. Super excited about this card. Next up, we have Draft Shaft Zuko. This is Zuko Exiled Prince, right at the bottom of Draft Shaft. There you go. It's a Zuko that draws an extra card every turn, but it's 4 mana, 4/3, and that's all it does, so meh. Alright, next up. The Boulder, Ready to Rumble. 4 mana, 4/4, when he attacks, you earthbend X for X the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. Earthbending is really strong. I think this is not quite the level we want on our Earthbending. 4 mana for an attack trigger, no evasion, requires setup, not really the most exciting commander. Next up, we have Boomy, King of 3 Trials. 6 mana for a 4/4, enters, choose up to X for X the number of lesson cards in your graveyard, put 3 counters on him, scry 3, and Earthbend 3. Now, this is a hell of a payoff for a lessons deck. If you got 5, 6 lessons in your graveyard, and Boomy comes down, and you just go, all right, well, here's all of the 3/3s, or I guess all the counters on your land, huh? You can also just make him huge. This is a great payoff for lessons, but not really the type of card I'm excited to put in the command zone of a deck. So, Boomy, King of Three Trials, let's put you in a card that exists because you're not fully draft chaff. You're a very good card for a specific deck. Next up is the Earth King. 4 mana for a 2/2, ETB make a 4/4. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 4 or greater attacks, search your library for up to that many basic land cards, put them into play tapped, and then shuffle. Man. We're putting it right at the top of Unique but Strong. This is such a good card. It's so good, but it's not the type of deck I like to play, right? I don't think it's peak design per se. You know, green has a lot of these. When my creature does a thing, I get a land. So it's not like it doesn't enthuse me as much as like Blood Moon the command zone, or if your opponent search the library, you draw cards the command zone. Like those are there's a specific echelon you have to reach to get to that top tier. I think he does a really good job. This is a staple forever in Commander, guys. This is a forever staple. Commander's all about casting big creatures in the green color identities, so great to have him here. Could definitely see the argument for this guy replacing Goreclaw as the de facto mono green commander too. Very cool. Oh, look at that! That's how it worked out. There's Flopsy. This is Boomy's buddy. So you know we just sent Boomy to the draft zone. Let's see what this one does. 6 mana 4/4 enters, put a counter on each creature you control. Creature you control powerful card can't be blocked by more than one creature. Great. This is a worse Colossal Dreadmaw, but it makes it harder for your opponents to block. So we'll put it right at the bottom of literal draft chaff. Alright, Haru, Hidden Talent. 2 mana 1/1. Whenever another ally you control enters, Earthbend 1. Interesting. We're going to put Haru in top of card that exists. I like to use this tier for cards that are good for specific strategies that aren't the best in the command zone for those strategies. You could even say that this is like a supporting role kind of card. Not quite a 99 card. There's a lot of good 99 cards in Strong but boring. But if you're playing allies, you put this in for sure. It's going to do a lot of work. Earthbending is a lot stronger than people are thinking it is. So Earthbending every turn, or more than once a turn, if you have a bunch of allies entering, very good. Alright, Toph the Blind Bandit. This is a 3 mana Toph that Earthbends 2, and her power is equal to the number of 1/1 counters on lands you control. You know, there is a bit more to this one than there is to some of the other draft chaffy cards. I'd put her in a card that exists. You could absolutely make her the commander for your mono green animate my lands deck, and then have her be huge and whatever. But I think she'd be more fun in the 99, so we'll put her there. I don't think she's bad though. I think she's fine. She's a 3 mana 2/3 that brings another 2/2 along with it. It's not half bad. Here we go. We're gonna hit a pile of Angs. I think this is Ang at the Crossroads. Whew. This is 2 green, white, blue. This is 2 green, white, blue for a human avatar ally. It's a 3/3 with flying. When he enters, you the top 5 cards of your library. Oh. Yep. You may put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, transform Ang at the beginning of the next upkeep, and then the backside is a 4/4 that Earthbends 2 at the beginning of each combat. Right at the top of peak design. This is so good. This is my favorite commander from the set, for sure. It asks you 2 things, right? It was like, do you want to Earthbend on the backside, or do you want to do blinking stuff? And it's just really good with all of them, to be honest with you. Really big fan of this card. Super excited to build it. We'll be building it together later. So that'll be wonderful. We can wipe lands with Haru to Earthbend all our lands. Oh. Really? All Earthbend creatures. Yeah. So like when you're Earthbending, Earthbending is like I said earlier, Earthbending is super strong and people don't realize how good it is because if the lands leave for any purpose besides going to your hand, they come right back. So you can use it to protect high value utility lands. You can use it to do all kinds of great stuff. So yeah, very excited for this set for sure. So we're gonna put Aang right at the top of personal faves. We're gonna be building this deck after the tier list is done, guys. So take a look at that one just a little bit. Next up, we have Aang Swift Savior. This is a 3-mana 2/3. It's a flash flying. When he enters, you airbend up to one other target creature or spell, and then which is exile it. They can play it for 2 later, and then pay 8, transform him. He becomes a 5/5. That when he attacks, all your tapped creatures get +1/+1 counters on them. This is my favorite card in the entire set. Aang at the Crossroads is my favorite commander. This is my favorite card in the entire set. So he's going straight up here next to Aang at the Crossroads. I think Crossroads Aang is a more fun commander. I don't think I'll be building Aang Swift Savior as a commander per se, but I love this card. It's going right at the top. I'm playing this in so many commander decks of mine, and I'm putting this in standard, and so you're going to see a lot of this card here on the channel going forward. Immediately a pet card. Super excited to play this one. And then we reach Avatar Aang. So I am conflicted on this card. Let's go through it real quick. It's 4 mana, so it's not red, green, white, blue, 4/4/4. Flying, firebending 2. Whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, you draw a card. And then once you've done all 4 in one turn, you flip him, and his backside does a bunch of stuff. It reduces all your spells by Wooburg, which makes this a Wooburg commander. And then which also they didn't put the clause in, so it does reduce your colorless costs. So with the backside of Avatar Aang in play, all of your airbending costs are free. And then if you want, when you get to your turn, you can have him leave the Avatar state, and then you just draw a bunch of cards and gain some life and all this other stuff. They always do the 5-color commander to put all of your X cards in. This time it's all of your Avatar cards in. But this one, I think, is more on the same side as, like, Terra from Final Fantasy, where I actually like this card, right? I'm really tired of here's a 5-color commander, put all your cards from the Avatar set in it, or all your cards from the Spider-Man set in it. That kind of design is a little boring and leads to a less interesting commander play, right? But thank you for laughing at the thumbnail. Isn't it great? We played Peak earlier today. That's why. So yeah, we have 5-color design is kind of a little bit boring. But this one does a lot of cool stuff. It does pay you off for doing the set thing, but it's just a cool card in general. And so we're gonna put this one right here at unique but strong. Typically, I would probably put these things in strong but boring. This one breaks through it a little bit. All right, next up we have Azula, Cunning Usurper. This is 2 blue, black, black for 4/4. She's got firebending too. Remember, guys, firebending does not add to your color identity, so it's just a blue-black commander. When she enters, a target opponent exiles a non-token creature they control, then they exile a non-land card from their graveyard, and then during your turn, you may cast cards, exile with Azula, as though they had flash and with many of any color. So, like, the idea here is, right, you play Azula, you pick somebody, they go, okay, I'll exile my worst creature and my worst card in my graveyard. And then you attack with her, and you use the firebending mana to pay for the spell. That's a cool design. I don't hate this. It's a little bit overcosted for what we're doing here. It is 1 more mana than Hostage Taker, which lets you pick what you're going to exile. Your opponent chooses what things you're getting here. But if you put this in the command zone, you know it's coming, and you can build around it. You can fill this thing with all the blue blink cards, the black, like, when my creature dies, bring it back, kind of stuff, and just pop everything until you get what you want. Though, you have to be a little careful with her, because if she dies, you don't get to cast the cards that you exiled the last time she was in play. So you only get the ones that are currently exiled with her. But just, like, use the cards first, then flicker her, and then use the cards again if you still want them. So, cool card. I don't hate it. I think it's quite strong. So we're gonna put it right up here in the middle of unique but strong. All right, next up we have Boomy Unleashed. This is 5 mana for a 5/4 trample. When Boomy enters, we're gonna Earthbend 4. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands you control. After this phase, additional combat phase, only land creatures can attack during that combat phase. Alright. Boomy, I'm sorry we had to put your other card in Draft Chaff. Welcome to Peak Design. This card is so cool. Are you kidding me? Alright. Let me go through all the different parts about this that I like so much. So Earthbend, as we mentioned, strong mechanic, makes it so your lands that are powerful can continue to stay in play. I have a bit of recursion to them. Has all kinds of cool play with like fetch lands, Urza's Saga, Wasteland, even like Dark Depths. And then, if you look here, that Earthbended creature is a 4-power creature. So it works with all of your green cards that care about power 4 or greater attacking. They don't enter, but you do get all their attack triggers, which is very cool. And Gruul has a lot of these cards. Then, when he hits, you untap all your lands, which is just phenomenal. It lets you ramp, hit with this 5/4 trample, which is going to be easy in most Commander games, and then untap all your lands and just do all your stuff again. But then, during that extra combat phase that you get from hitting with him, only your land creatures can attack. So it incentivizes you to build a bunch of man lands into your deck, but also like things like what's the Wake in the Woods, I believe, or it's that makes a big old pile of Dryad Arbors. The X green spell from Brothers War, stuff like that. Just phenomenal card. Really excited to build this one. Not one of the 4 we picked for the gameplay show we're going to be putting out in about a week or so, but a very cool one nonetheless. Peak Design. Next up, we have Fire Lord Azula. This is the 1 blue, black, and red for a 4/4. She has Firebending 2. And whenever you cast a spell while she's attacking, you copy the spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. As I've seen pointed out on other places that people seem to have missed when they first read this card, once a creature attacks, it is attacking forever. Like during combat, right? So if you hit with Azula, and that caused you to cast a spell, like with, what was that one? There's a artifact in OTJ that is a Key to the Vault, that one. That lets you cast a spell off the top. That gets doubled with Azula. If you have flash creatures, you double it with Azula. If you cast, like, Lightning Bolt or whatever, or you have any ways to just cast spells at instant speed, of which there are many ways in blue, you copy it with Azula. Not only that, but she gives you 2 mana to help you do this. Very cool. Very, very cool card. I'm going to put this right at the top of Unique but Strong. It's not a personal favorite of mine, even though it's doing a lot of stuff I like. I think it's just a little bit too on the samey side of things, but it's a unique kind of samey that I like a lot. Reminds me a lot of Obeka Brute Chronologist from OTJ. So right at the top here. And this is one of the decks we're going to be building later today as well. So stay tuned if you want to see my take on this one. Next up, we have Fire Lord Zuko. This is red, white, black for 2/4 with Firebending X, where X is his power. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, and whenever a permanent you control enters from exile, you put a counter on each creature you control. Great. We have a couple of these red X cards that care about casting spells from exile. And this one is the first time, I believe, we got it in Mardu. So very cool. Plus, he gives you mana to use for this effect. Very nice. Strange that they... Well, not strange, actually. I like that they gave you the firebending, a large firebending amount on this guy, and then didn't give you a way to use it. So it kind of asks you a question you got to answer. Some of these other cards, like the Demir Azula, has the answer to what you use the firebending mana for built into the card itself. Whereas this one, you got to find some other stuff to use the firebending on, which is nice. Plus, I like that firebending, the Fire Lord Zuko works really well with all the airbended cards, and there's Aang in the art. Very cool. I think we'll put this guy right at the bottom of Unique but Strong. And this is, we'll put him above Combustion Man. I think he'll be a good commander. He'll let you do a lot of the stuff that Prosper does, but with creature sizing as opposed to treasures. So that's more intrinsically fair. And it's also just a 3-mana commander, so that's not bad. Alright, we've left the string of bangers, and we're back to the draft shaft, guys. This is Guru Pathik. It's a 4-mana 2/4, enters the top 5. You may reveal a Lesson, Saga, or Shrine, put it in your hand, and then when you cast one of those 3 things, you put a counter on the other creature you control. This is here to tie your pile of draft cards together, so we'll put it in draft and move on. This is Hama the Bloodbender. Bloodbending got a lot of cool cards in this set, but this is not one of them. This is a 5 mana 3/3, and when she enters, you make someone mill 3 cards, then you exile a non-creature non-land from their graveyard, and as long as you control her, you may play that card by Waterbending X. This feels like a more boring version of Azula that just isn't as strong. I don't think it's terrible. Obviously, you can do cool things with it. So we'll put it at the bottom of a card that exists, but not really excited to play this one. Then we have Hey Bye, Spirit of Balance. This is a 4 mana 3/3 in Orzhov. When he enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. Can you put 2 counters on him, and then when he leaves, you put the counters on another creature you control. This card is a card that exists. I don't think it's bad. This could do some good stuff, right? This could be huge. It's attacking as a 5/5 the first time it attacks, and then every time you attack, it gets bigger. Could be an interesting take on Aristocrats, where you're just feeding this big bear to kill your opponents. That's my feelings. Which is exactly what this tier exists for. Alright, Iroh, Grand Lotus. 3 green, blue, red for a 5/5 human noble ally with firebending 2. During your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery in your graveyard has flashback. Flashback is equal to the card's mana cost, and then during your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback 1. They showed this card off pretty early in the spoiler season when we weren't sure how good lessons were going to be. They are very good this time around. There was a cost to lesson cards in Strixhaven where they all were overcosted for what they did, because they were, trying to balance around Learn. Well, this time the set doesn't have Learn in it, so they just kind of went crazy with it. We got a lot of very good staple level cards and in the Learn slots, and a lot of them are in green, blue, and red. So great, this is a phenomenal card. It's a bit expensive to get into play, but beyond that, you're doing a lot of flashback shenanigans. So we'll put this guy right at the top of a Unique but Strong. This is the 4th or 5th card that does something like this, where you're giving your instant sorceries flashback from the command zone. This time it's in Teamer as opposed to Grixis and Mono Blue. But it's got that extra lesson stuff to it, which I think pushes it over the edge enough that I like it. So we're gonna put it at the top of Unique but Strong, right below. I'll put Azula above him. Azula does cooler things than Iroh does, but Iroh does stronger things. So that's a great Unique and then Strong, right? Next up, we have Iroh Tea Master. This Iroh is 1 red-white for a 2/2. When he enters, you make a food. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target opponent gain control of target permanent you control. When you do, you make an ally and put a counter on it for each permanent you own that your opponents control. I like this card a lot. Donate Commander is very cool. Actually, you know what? No, I'm putting him in peak design. Let me explain. This commander is going to be have a lot of similar stuff going on to it as Zedju does, where you're just been like, here, you have this wonderful gift. It's called 9 lives. Anyways, destroy all enchantments, you die. But also, it's just gonna do some funny things. Something specifically I want to do with this commander, because I tried this with John Arenicus, and it wasn't quite good enough. But what I want to do with Iroh is, we're in red, so we have access to all of the threaten effects. So we can, steal their creature for a turn, and then go to combat, and go, actually, I don't want to attack with your commander. I will give someone else your commander, and then they get to keep it forever, because you give it to them. So, very funny, kind of chaosy, right? Just passing everybody's cards around. And the whole time you're getting, little allies tokens to fill out your battlefield. Keep yourself alive. When everyone's like, well, you gave him my commander, I'm going to kill you. So, cool. Very cool card. Excited to play this one. Oh, Jet. 5 mana for a 3/1. When he enters, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to a creature. And when he dies, you put a counter on up to 2 target creatures. Oh, Jet. We're going to run out of draft room because of you, Jet. Alright. Next up, we have Katara the Fearless. Whenever you trigger an ability of an ally, you do it again. I'm asleep. Good night, Katara. You have some cool cards, but I am sleeping. This is so boring. Sure, I mean, it's going to do good stuff if you have a bunch of allies in your deck. And it's going to do a lot of work in the 99 of an allies deck, like if you built Aang the Crossroads or 4-color Aang as your allies deck, which I did. But in the command zone, it's just so boring. That's all. Alright, next up. Look, I'm a sucker for Bant too. I love Bant. My favorite, but we got Aang at the Crossroads. Play that one. If you want an Avatar commander in Bant, do Aang at the Crossroads. He's really, really cool. Katara is not. She's just so boring. All right, this Katara I like a bit more. This is Katara, Water Tribe's Hope. This is a 5-mana 3/3 with Vigilance. When she enters, you make a 1/1 white ally creature token. You can waterbend X, and creatures you control have base power and toughness X until end of turn. X can't be 0, activate only during your turn. Okay, so this card does a little bit extra, right? It does things for you. It makes an ally, and then you can use your creatures and artifacts to buff the team. Cool. It's not super. I don't think it's super strong, but I don't think it's boring. So I'm gonna put this one a little higher than the other Katara, but by one step. So this you could build a bunch of 30-minute inspectors, spyglass sirens, novice inspectors, just creatures that come in and make another thing when they enter, and then use them to buff the whole team. I think it'd be a really cool blue-white attacker deck. You could even be the commander for your blue-white skies, because getting sizing on your flying creatures is always the hard part in those decks. So this could be a really cool one. I think this card's great. I think it's strong. I think it's a little bit boring, so that's why we're putting it where we're putting it. All right, the Lion Turtle is up next. This is our Civic Commander. 3 mana for 3/6, Vigilance Reach. When he enters, you gain 3 life. He cannot attack or block unless there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard, and he taps to add 1 mana of any color. So this is like Uro at home, right? He does the whole gains your life, ramps you, doesn't draw your cards. And it doesn't attack for 6, right? Like I said, Uro at home. That's kind of the closest comparison. Or maybe an Erixmathes, but any color. I don't hate this card, honestly. I don't hate it. But Lessons in Simic, it's close, right? If Strixhaven's return set next year has Lessons, this card's going to be great. Will be really good there. Until then, it's going to go right at the top of a card that exists. Don't hate it. Cool design. Mana Rock in the command zone is fine. It's probably just going to resolve into your normal Simic ramp deck, though, unfortunately. All right, Long Feng, Grand Secretariat, 3 mana for a 2/3. Whenever another creature you control or land you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a counter on target creature you control, and he's a 2/3. Okay, well, I guess if you sack lands, it does things. So we'll put him in card that exists. This feels like it feels like it should be in the Jumpstart set. Yeah, that's all I have to say about this card. Not the biggest fan. All right, Ozai the Phoenix King. 2 black, red. Oh, right, that's what I couldn't remember what that card mattered for. Long Fang. This is the Brute Scale combo card. This lets you do the Brute Scale combo from the command zone. So I'm actually going to take it up to Strong but Boring. This is a combo deck. There's a couple of cards that work like Brute Scale. This gives you the Blade of the Blood Chiefs in the command zone. I was like, for some reason, my brain remembered this card being relevant. If you guys don't know the Brute Scale combo, Basking Brute Scale, I believe is the name, is a 2 mana creature from Modern Horizons 3. That whenever you put a counter on him, you make a 0/1 Eldrazi Scion, which you can sack for mana. And so this basically just says, cool, this is in play, Basking Brute Scale is in play, counter on the Brute Scale, make a Scion, infinite mana. And then it's up to you to figure out how to win from there. Very cool card for if you're going for that hard all-in combo. You have the black mana to tutor. Taking this deck from Modern to Commander, great. I do like this card. We're going to put this one in the Strong but Boring. I knew there was something I was trying to remember about that one. There's 104 commanders with this set, guys. I gotta get through them all, though. All right, Ozai the Phoenix King. 2 black, black, red, red. 7/7 trample, firebending 4 and haste. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes red instead. Ozai has flying and indestructible as long as you have 6 or more unspent mana. All right, so I don't know if you guys have ever played against the old green, the old mono green Omnath or the new 5-color Omnath, but being able to just go, all right, tap my lands for extra mana before my turn to ramp further, is really good. Plus, this just gives you 4 mana every turn, and gives you 4 mana back for playing him. All of the red mana you could have spent to play him in the first place. So this is basically a 2 mana 7/7 once everything is accounted for. Very, very good. Is he exciting? Kind of. I think he's a cool card. He's not a very good character in the show. He has a lot of cool stuff in the show. So we'll put him right up here in a unique but strong next to his son. This is going to do a lot of cool stuff. Big Rakdos is a cool color for like big spells in. So I think I'll like this deck if I play against it. But I don't think I'd build it myself. So we'll put it here in unique but strong. Alright, next up we have Professor Z, Anthropologist. 2 mana for an 0/3. Discard a card, draw a card. As a tap ability, pay 1, sack him, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate only during your turn. Oh yeah, this is the guy who dies to Wan Shitong. They clearly loved that episode. I think that one episode I got, what, 4 or 5 cards? Because we got 2 Wan Shitongs, the planetarium, we got like a lesson. We got a ton of cards from this little set, this little episode. This guy's cool. Looters in the command zone are interesting depending on what colors they're in. In black, you have access to reanimation stuff. In blue-red, you're trying to do more spells things, and I'm a little less enthused about this. So we'll put the Professor Zay in. Oh well, where is he in my tier list? I think he's all the way down here. Well, I was gonna put him into Draft Chaff, and so if I find him later, oh, yeah, there he is, Literal Draft Chaff, right at the bottom. This one's not really. Literal Draft Chaff is not really listed by how good or bad they are. It's more of the upper ones that are. Alright, next up. Sokka, Bold Boomeranger. This is a 2 mana 1/1. When he enters, discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. When you cast an artifact or lesson, put a counter on Sokka. It's fine. I don't hate it. I mean, he's going to get huge quick. You guys have a lot of artifacts in Commander. I don't think it's bad. I think it's strong. I think it's strong but boring, and I'll put it right about there. We'll put it above removal in the command zone and below some of this busted stuff. We'll put him there. Discard draw. Like I said, doing the looting thing in the command zone is more exciting depending on what color you're in. This one's trying to do artifacts or lesson things, and a lot of the lesson cards care about lessons in the graveyard, at least from Avatar. So, cool. Very interesting. Alright, Sokka, Lateral Strategist. 3 mana 2/4 Vigilance. Whenever he and at least one other creature attack, you draw a card. Okay. This card's not exciting, but not a good commander, but it is a very strong card in the 99 for your attacking humans decks. Vigilance is great. Play it in your decks. It's not that exciting or not much to talk about, so move on. Alright, Sokka, Tenacious Tactician. Here we go. 4 mana, Jeskai colors for 3/3, Menace, Prowess. Other allies you control have Menace and Prowess, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put a 1/1 ally creature token into play. So something really cool about this set is all of the Sokkas, maybe the uncommon one not so much, but pretty much all of the good Sokkas work really well together. This one works really well with the Scene Box Sokka and the Sokka we just talked about that cares about artifacts. So, but with just him in the command zone and not focusing in the direction the other Sokkas lead you into, which we'll talk about when we get to Sokka's Scene Box card, this card is awesome. Jeskai spells, non-creature spells, and you get a big old pile of guys. Putting Monster Mentor in the command zone is always going to make me excited, and you get to do it in a way that is a little bit unique. You get all those ally synergies too. So you're doing prowess and non-creature ally stuff. Very fun. We're gonna put this guy right up here in unique but strong, above 5-color Ang, because not a personal favorite, but I think it's gonna be a really good commander. It's going straight into my Narset deck. All right, next up we have Suki Kiyoshi Warrior. This is a 4-mana star 4. Power is equal to the number of creatures you control, and when she attacks, you make a single ally that's tapped attacking. This is Adeline at home. Adeline's got vigilance. Adeline attacks each opponent. However, allies as a typal group really need allies to enter every turn, and a lot of the best allies are in this color pair. Some of the old best ones though are in blue, so a little sad. You can do a lot of good stuff with Suki though. I think she goes right here in a card that exists. She's gonna do a lot of work in your allies deck, even though she is a worse Adeline, because Adeline just really pushed for commander. This one is a more fair version of it. So I don't hate this card. I think it will do some good work for you, and it's gonna be huge because that power number of creatures you control is gigantic. All right, Tarth. Hard-headed teacher. This is a newer one. Do I even have this card in the tier list? I do. Good. All right. 4 mana for a 3/4. Enters, you may discard a card. If you do, return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. And whenever you cast a spell, Earthbend 1. If that's supposed to lessen, put an initial counter on that land. That's not important. Whenever you cast a spell, Earthbend 1 is crazy. That is so strong. This card is very strong, and because it's strong because of a new mechanic, it's super unique. Honestly, we're putting this one in peak design. We'll put it right here by Appa. I haven't really dug into building this deck list myself yet, like I have with Appa and I have with Aang. So I can't tell you everything that it can do. However, Earthbending is very strong. If you can Earthbend onto all of your lands and then stack all of your lands, they all come back so gonna do a lot of really good stuff for you here. So this one's gonna be great. Play this one. I might have to build this one for the channel. I think we will, actually. I think we'll build this one either later tonight or next week. Very cool. All right, and then we have the commander that everyone's been waiting for, Toph, the First Metal Bender. 4 mana, so 1 red, green, white for 3/3. Non-token artifacts you control are lands, in addition to their other types. At the beginning of your end step, you Earthbend 2. All right, so we've been saying over and over again, Earthbend is strong, but we mean it, and this makes Earthbending even stronger, because now you can use all the upsides we mentioned for Earthbending to protect your artifacts. Artifacts are already one of the best types in all of Magic. This lets you use all these land synergies with Toph. I feel bad for anybody who have not bought their Candelabra of Tawnos yet, because that reserve list card is insane in here, because it's a land, so now you can untap your Candelabra with Candelabra. So very cool card, very exciting. This is gonna do a lot of crazy combo stuff, and we're gonna slam this one right up at the top of peak design. It's doing stuff that you've never seen before with land BS. Very excited. I'll keep my favorite card in the set above it. This is my second favorite commander in the set, this Toph Metal Bender. Super excited to see all the BS people come up with for this. And so many old random cards have just been spiking because they work so well with your artifacts also being lands. It's ridiculous. All right, Draft Champ Uncle Iroh. Thank goodness we have a short one this time. Uncle Iroh, enjoy your time in the draft. Zhao, Ruthless Admiral. Zhao, you got a good card. This is not your good card. There you go. Next up, we have Zuko Conflicted. Black, red for 2/3. Beginning of your first main phase, choose one that has not been chosen, and you lose 2 life. Draw a card. Put a counter on him. Add red. Exile him and return to the battlefield under its opponent's control. All right. So, this is like putting what was it? Bloodthirsty Harvester, or that 2-drop 2/3/2 that messed up standard for the entire time it was legal and then never got banned. This card's very good. In Commander, it's not the craziest. I would say let's put him right at the bottom. We'll put him down here. Also, I'm putting Brute Scale combo up there. We'll put him here. This is gonna do a lot of cool stuff. You can like homeward path him and bring him back to your battlefield. Once you've like got him into, you have to give him away, and you just take him back, right? Uh, Very cool. A very cool card. Not the most excited to build it, but I think it's gonna do some cool stuff. I'm more excited for this in 1v1 formats. Okay, next up we have the Walls of Ba Sing Se. This is an 8 mana artifact creature. It's a wall. It can be your commander. It's a defender. Other permanents you control have indestructible, and it is a 0/30. Where is this thing? We're gonna put this in peak design. All right, look, this is a tier list mostly talking about these cards as the commander of your deck. However, it's a 0/30, and I'm putting it in peak design. I'm sorry. It's so funny. It's such a dumb, stupid card that they never would have made if it wasn't for Universes Beyond. But I love it. You may know a card from Tarkir Commander called Jaws of Defeat. It's a black enchantment that when a creature enters under your control, you have one opponent lose life equal to the difference between that creature's power and toughness. That's 30, guys. That's 30 damage. This is an 8 mana 30/30 that makes your board indestructible in your Walls decks. As the commander, meh. However, this is going to mess me up specifically. I don't play the Walls decks. Kai does. Whew. Cool card. Very cool card. Here we are, Hakoda, Selfless Commander. This is a 4 mana 3/5 Vigilance. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast ally spell from the top. You sack him. Creature you control get +0/+5 and gain indestructible until end of turn. Meh. You know, as a commander, not too exciting. Very obviously, very good card for your allies deck. So we'll put this guy. We'll put him up here in. Let's do unique but strong. We'll put him below Combustion Man. I'm more excited about him. Strong but boring. About there. Not the most enthused. Alright. Next up. Appa the Vigilant. 7 mana, 6/6. Flying Vigilance. Whenever he or another ally enters a creature you control, get +1/+1, gain Flying and Vigilance on the turn. Great. That's all. This card is strong but boring. I think I would rather play banned Katara allies than mono white Appa allies. But if I'm doing mono white allies, I'd rather have the card advantage protection in the command zone from the last guy we looked at, rather than Appa. And this would be a great card in the 99 of your decks. Let's keep moving. The Mechanist, 3 mana 1/3, cast a non-creature spell, create a clue token. Tap until end of turn. Target artifact token you control becomes a 3/1 construct artifact creature with flying. This card's going to do a lot of work in your non-creature spells decks. However, not too excited to have him in the command zone. We're going to put this one right here in strong but boring, about right there. Like, this feels like it might be a more fair Urza, right? Like Urza, Lord High Artificer. It does care about non-creature spells, so you don't have to just do artifacts, but you want to do artifacts. Whenever you cast an artifact, make an artifact is pretty strong, but I think he will do better in decks like Breya and Urza than he would do in the command zone. So, next up, we have Mai and Zuko. 1 blue, black, red for a 3/5 firebending 3. You may cast ally spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Cool. Grixis Allies is not as supported as some of the other color combos, but casting artifacts at flash speed, pretty strong, and that's more what you're going to build around. So we'll put that right up here. Very cool card, not the most exciting, but pretty strong. Alright, Aang and Katara. Sorry for all of your Katara and Zuko fanboys, but Aang and Katara are going to go right up here in strong but boring. This card is quite boring. 6 mana, 5/5. When it enters or attacks, you make a big old pile of allies. With a number of tapped artifacts and creatures you control. It's strong, but it's not that exciting. That's all. Next up is Toph, Greatest Earthbender. Whenever she enters, you earthbend X marks the amount of mana spent to cast her, and land creatures you control have double strike. This one's going to go at the top of a card that exists. Toph got so many good cards in this set that it makes sense that she got a boring one. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's strong per se. So we'll put it right here. It exists. Alright. Sokka and Suki. Congratulations, Wizards. You finally did it. You made one of these go-wide equipment decks that doesn't suck. They've been trying to push this for a while. They've been like, okay, we've done so many Boros equipment legends. People aren't building Boros all-in-one artifacts in play again. So we gotta do something different. So they did like Kellen the Fey-Blooded, which buffs your team based on how many of them are equipped. And then they did a bunch of other random cards that care about your other creatures being equipped. They even, like, Amy Rose from the Sonic Secret Lair does this. But none of them really did enough to make you want to put the equipment elsewhere, right? Because if you're playing equipment, the best thing to do is to break the rules of Magic, and instead of having to deal 120 damage, each opponent for 40, with your Voltron commander, you can you do 120 damage with your creatures. You can do much, much less. You only have to do 63 damage with commander damage with your commander. So it just makes more sense to put the equipment onto your commander, and there you go. So all of these go-wide equipment decks became go tall on one creature, everyone else is a benefit. And then the creatures you're going wide with would just become would only be the cards that care about equipment, the old Boros equipment legends that did it for everyone, right? Wound up being quite boring. So the decks never really took off. Sokka and Suki, however, turns all of your equipment into living weapons that make 1/1 allies. Awesome. Perfect. So good. Whenever they enter, you attach equipment to a creature, and then whenever an ally enters, you attach equipment to that creature. And whenever an ally enters, you make an ally. Whenever equipment enters, you make an ally. Perfect. I play my Hammer of Nazan. It comes in, attaches Sokka and Suki, makes an ally, and I move it over to that one. Now you can play all of these go-wide equipment payoff cards in a deck that is going to actually have go-wide equipment, because the deck-building tax of I want to attack with creatures and I want to play equipment has been solved by the commander. This commander is saying, you don't need to actually play a bunch of creatures, you need to play a bunch of equipment, and then you're going to spread them out and go wide with them. You're not going to pile them all in one place. Awesome. It takes a lot to make me excited about an equipment commander. This is the one that's doing it for me, so very excited to build this one. Super, super excited. Alright, next up, we have Aang Earthbending Master. So we've made it to some of the Jumpstart rares. This is a 5-mana 4/4. When he enters, you airbend another creature. Whenever one or more creatures you control leave the battlefield without dying, you get an experience counter. At the beginning of your upkeep, you make a 1/1 ally for each experience counter you have. Remember that thing I said earlier about how allies really want more allies to show up? This is one card that does it immediately. Lets you rebuy your ETBs, because a lot of allies care about allies entering. So this is an ally that makes allies that makes more allies. Perfect. Fantastic. Also, it's an experience counter, so very nice. All in all, this Aang is a phenomenal card for allies decks. I think I like to play him just a little bit more than the card draw in the command zone out of this other guy here, because the issue of the monocolor allied deck is going to be your allies need more allies to enter to do their things, and you don't have that many. So, good card, and it's going to go crazy in your other allied decks. Alright, the Duke Rebel Sentry. 1 mana for a 0/1. The Duke enters with a +1/+1 counter on him. Tap, remove a counter from the Duke. Put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control against hexproof. Jared, which Katara do you think is going to see Legacy play? Oh, the 2 mana Jumpstart rare? Yeah, we haven't gotten that one yet. I that makes sense. We'll get to that one in a moment. Where's this? The Duke. Welcome to Draft Tap, Jeff Duke. You're not very good. Ty Lee Chi Blocker. This is a 3 mana 2/1 with Flash and Prowess. Whenever When it enters, you tap up to one target creature. It does not untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Ty Lee. This is a cool card. Not really a commander, so it's a card that exists. I'd play it. I mean, it's a flash prowess creature. It's not the worst, but not a good commander. So I'm gonna stick it there and card that exists. All right, next up is Jet Rebel Leader. 4 mana 3/4. When he attacks, you look at the top 5 cards of your library. You put a creature card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield, tap and attacking, put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, so this is a creature that when he attacks, he Cocos. Cool. I hadn't seen a lot of these Jumpstart cards before. This card, I think he's strong, but he's boring. I don't think he's a card that exists. I think he would do some work in the command zone. This feels like a balanced version of Winota, because it doesn't like scale for all your creatures. It doesn't give the creatures indestructible until your next turn. But it does hit anything as long as it's mana value 3 or less. I like this. This is a cool card. I like it. I don't hate it. I don't think it's boring enough to be a card that exists. I think it's just strong and boring. So, alright, next up is Monk Yatso. Whenever another creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, you may airbend that creature. So, this is Nadu, but it doesn't win you the game on its own. And it's in mono white. I want to take a look at this one to figure out exactly how broken you can get it. But no Mezzin Core in play. You can flicker your whole board if you choose to. Why would you want to do that? If you have like a Semblance Anvil in play, it lets you then replay all of that stuff for free. If you have any other cost reducers, even like a Pearl Medallion and like a Monument, this card might actually be broken. It might be broken. It doesn't pay you off like Nadu does, but it lets you rebuy all your ETBs whenever you do the Nadu thing. I want to take a look at this one. This one might actually secretly be the best commander in the set, power level wise. We'll see. If this is going to be a mono white Storm Nadu combo, that might be cool. Alright, Pipsqueak. Great. The definition of Raftchaff. It is a 3 mana 4/4 that can't attack unless she has a counter on him. So I can't attack alone. Jeez. Okay. Great. Next. Sokka Swordmaster. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, the Jeskai Sokka ties all the other Sokkas together. This one is also caring about equipment. And your equipment costs less for each ally you control. So if you like use Sokka and Suki, make a big old pile of equipment, and then play this guy, all your equipment's going to be free. And now you're cheating. Now you are cheating. However, as a commander, not that enthused about him. It's another cheat on equipment cost commander on its own. We're going to put him in a strong but boring. We're going to put Jet above Katara, just like everyone wants. So, great. Really fun in the 99 of specifically Sokka and Suki. Hey look, Suki. 3 mana, 3/3, warriors get +1/+1. 4 mana, warriors you control gain double strike until end of turn. Cool. This card exists. Play it in your warriors deck. Put it there. The Blue Spirit. You may cast the first creature spell you cast each turn as though it had flash. Whenever a non-token creature you control enters during combat, draw a card. So, this is the commander for your mono blue flash deck, where you make all your big sea serpents and all that other idiots come in at flash speed, and then you get to draw cards whenever you do it. Very cool design. I don't think it's quite unique but strong, but it does draw a lot of cards out of the command zone and is very tricky. But it is the first creature spell only, so it's not super busted. So I like this one. It's cool. Yes. So here is the Katara that's gonna probably see some amount of legacy play. When you cast it, this is a 2 mana 1/3. When you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you get an experience counter, and then whenever she attacks, you may draw a card for each experience counter you have. If you do, discard. It's gonna draw a lot of cards, guys. If you cast a cantrip on everybody's turn, and then you attack with Katara, that's 3 cards for this one card. Very good. This is going to do a lot of card draw, but and is good for your experienced counter decks, but not the most exciting card. I'd say it's strong but boring, kind of definitionally. And I'll put it above the boring Bant Katara. This is a fun design. This is Princess Yui. It's a 3-mana 3/2 that when she dies, if she was a non-land, she comes back as Moon, and she taps for a colorless. She's still legendary, and she taps to scry 2. Okay. Yeah, I get it. You get it, guys? His girlfriend, she turned into the Moon. She became the Moon. It's funny. It's a cool top-down design. It exists. I wouldn't call it draft chaff. I wouldn't call it good. I'd call it draft chaff. It's pretty bad. It's a fun top-down design. That's all. Hey, look, a cool Moon card. Tui and La, Moon and Ocean, 4-mana 3/3. Whenever it becomes tapped, you draw a card. Whenever it becomes untapped, you put a counter on them. Okay, so we mentioned earlier how with Granny or Gran that one drop that does the whole when you untap this draw a card thing is kind of boring because it just like draws you a bunch of cards and draws your deck. But this goes infinite super easily. This is going to be very strong as a combo commander, but I would lean towards the boring side of things. To be honest with you, I think this would be a bit boring. Just because you're doing the exact same combo every time you play the deck, put it right at the bottom of strong but boring. This goes combo with any of the like free from the real style effects. Great. Moving on. This is the lesser of the Wan Shi Tongs, but still pretty cool. Wan Shi Tong All-Knowing is a 5-mana 4/4 with flying. When he enters, target non-land permanent owner puts it in their library second from the top. Whenever one or more cards are put into a library from anywhere, you make 2 1/1 spirit creature tokens. With this token cannot be block or be blocked by non-spirit creatures. Yeah, free from the real Relic of Legends. There's a lot of ways to go infinite with that last card. This card is actually a pretty cool commander. If you can regularly tuck things into people's decks, making 2 1/1 unblockable creatures is a pretty good payoff. And your commander has flying, so you got evasion. A lot like Enduring Curiosity goes crazy in this deck. And not really very many cards like this one. So I'd say unique but strong. And we'll put it I'll put it above the Combustion Man still. I do think that current commander would be pretty cool. Alright, Azula, Ruthless Firebender. This is a mono black card. It's a 3-mana 3/3 with Firebending 1. When she attacks, you may discard a card. Then you get an experience counter for each player who discarded a card this turn. 3 mana, she gets +1/+1 for each experience counter she has and gains Menace. Oh, okay. So this is kind of a boring... This is draft chaff. Sure, you get a lot of experience quickly, and she can get big, but I don't like this. I think this is boring. Sorry, Azula. You had to get a bad card eventually. Where's a mythic, though? Fire Lord Ozai. 4-mana 4/4. Whenever he attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, add an amount of red equal to the sacrificed creature's power. On a turn, you don't lose his mana as the phase's end. 6 mana, exile the top card of each opponent's library. You may play one of those cards without paying its mana cost. Whoa! This is Rakdos, like, Atali-esque theft, kinda. This card's cool. I haven't seen this one yet. This is unique and strong. I like this. You get like a burnt offering out of the command zone that they incentivize you to use to cast your opponent's spells for free. That's very cool. Yeah, I like this one a lot. We'll put this one up here in unique but strong. Not quite peak design, but very cool. Lo and Lee, Royal Advisors. 4-mana 3/3. Whenever an opponent discards a card or mills one or more cards, you put a counter on each advisor you control. And 3 mana, target player mills 4 cards, and that has the hybrid mana symbol, so it is, at least as of time of recording, a Dimir card. Okay, so this is a card for your Persistent Petitioners deck. That makes sense. Cool. Great. This card exists. I am of the opinion that Persistent Petitioners are best served by the commander... Oh, what's her name? Sephrus of the Hidden Ways. The Esper Graveyard Venture to the Dungeon deck. But if you want an avatar deck that does Persistent Petitioners, here you are. Next up is Neela, Shirshu Sleuth. 5 mana, 4/5. Enters, exile up to one target creature card from your graveyard. If you do, you lose X life and create X clue tokens, or X is that card's mana value. Beginning of your end step, if you control no clues, return target card exile with Nyla to its owner's hand. This is cool. This is an interesting take on recursion. Where's he at down here? We're gonna put him in. I don't hate it. It's pretty unique, but I don't think that makes it a good commander. I think it's better than Precision Petitioners, though. So it exists. Alright, Avatar Roku, Firebender, 3, red, 6/6. Whenever a player attacks, add 6 red. Until end of combat, you do not lose this mana as steps end. Triple red, target creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Okay. Interesting. So, at first glance, you may not realize what's cool about... I mean, this is free, right? Wait, you play this, and then you go to combat, and then you attack, you had 6 mana, and he's paid for himself? A free 6/6 in mono red. Okay, so what I'm excited about this card for is if you have goad stuff going on, you get to pump your creature, their creatures rather, by +3/+0 whenever they attack, which is cool. Beyond that, not super exciting, but mono red goad does some cool stuff, and pumping your opponent's stuff when they're attacking can do some work for you in Commander, so we'll put them right about there. We're going to move them up here. Okay, let's go to the next one. Chong and Lily Nomads. Whenever one or more bards you control attack, choose one. Put a lore counter on each of any number of target sagas you control. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn for each lore counter among sagas you control. And it's a 3/3. Okay. So it cares about bards. Mono red sagas. Neat. That's what I have to say about this one. Neat. It exists. Fang, Roku's companion. 5 mana, 4/4 flying. When he attacks another target legendary creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn. X is his power. When he dies, if it wasn't a spirit, return to the battlefield under your control as a spirit. Cool. This is a phenomenal card in the 99 of Henzi, Toolbox, Tori. As a commander, it's kind of boring. That's all. Iroh, Dragon of the West. 4 mana, 4/4 haste, mentor. When you have combat on your turn, each creature you control with a counter on it gains Firebending 2 until end of turn. Cool. Now this is your mono red Firebending commander. This is a good one. I like this guy a lot, actually. If you're going to do Firebending stuff in mono red, this is the best commander for sure. We'll put him up here in Unique and Strong. I like this guy a lot, actually. Getting counters on your stuff is not going to be that hard. And this kind of solves the whole mana problem that we see from a lot of mono red decks by giving you this huge amount of mana during combat. She's going to find a way to utilize it, right? But I think it's going to be easy to do so if you know it's in the command zone like this. And you can give it to everybody who comes with counters. So, mono red, big mana counters. Pretty unique, pretty cool. Alright, Long Shot, Rebel Bowman. 4 mana, 3/3 reach. Non-creature spells cost 1 to cast. When you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Sick. Alright, so now we have Gutter Snipe in the command zone. That goes about here. This card's strong. I'm not the most excited to play it. But it's going to be really good for people who've been wanting their mono red Spellslinger deck to show up and go crazy. And this can do it for sure. Next up is Moku, Meandering Drummer. This is a 2 mana 2/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1. If you do, Moku gets +2/+1, and creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Huh. Not half bad. It gives all your creatures haste, which is fun, but it's draft. Great. Next. Smeller Bee, Rebel Fighter. 4 mana 3/3. First strike. Other creatures you control have haste. Whenever Smeller Bee attacks, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of attacking creatures. Cool. Mono red. Get him dead. Give him your whole team haste. This is a quintessential mono red deck, and it solves the card draw problem, right? So dump your hand, get yourself to having no cards in hand, and then draw a big old pile of cards. Great. I would like to put this guy up here in strong but boring, and I think I'm going to put him about... We'll put him above the drill. Zuko, Firebending Master. 2 mana, first strike, 2/2. Firebending X for X the number of experience counters you have. Whenever you get spelled during combat, you get an experience counter. Aw, dang. You know, if I knew this card existed, I would have ranked him higher. I would have done better than what I did for Iroh. Where's Iroh at in this tier list right now? Because he goes right above Iroh. What a cool card. Mono red pump spells, baby. Very cool. Avatar Kiyoshi, Earthbender. 5 green, green, green for a 6/6. During your turn, Avatar Kiyoshi has hexproof. During your turn, she has hexproof. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Earthbend 8. Then untap that land. Big creature. Big creature. She's great. She's strong. I don't think she's quite unique, but she's pretty strong. So we'll put her right up here. Big creature, tall, wide, tall creature, wide creature is what's here at the top of strong but boring. So, neat. It's Bosco, just a bear. Hey guys, aren't bears 2 mana 2/2s? This is a 5 mana 4/4. So I don't think that's quite right. When you enter, you make a food for each legendary you control. 3-second food, put 2 guys on them. Great! This is Draft Chaff. Sorry, Bosco, you're just a fake bear. Next up, we have the Cabbage Merchant. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, make a food token. Whenever a creature does combat damage to you, sacrifice a food token. Tip 2 untapped foods you control, add 1 mana of any color. Alright. Hear me out. Hear me out, guys. He's going up here in Unique and Strong. Listen. He's not here because he's a good commander. He's not a very good commander, honestly. But I have to shout out the CDH people with this one. This commander is going to be really, really good in the 99 of CDH. Whenever people start storming off with their big old pile of mana rocks or chaining spells, this is giving you a giant amount of foods, and then you can turn that into mana. This is baby Smothering Tithe. It's like Rhystic Study, Smothering Tithe, combined in a card and like trimmed down. It's not as strong as those cards. I think it's good enough to go there. I think it's good enough to please C-play and CEDH. The problem is it's green, and green is the weakest color in that format right now. So we'll see how it turns out. I think it can see play there. If you have a lot of artifact friends in your meta, though, play this one and you'll just make so much mana they don't know what to do with them. Boo, boo. Okay. Listen. Hey, bye, Forest Guardian is. I don't like this card. It's a 5 mana 4/4. And real cards from top 2. Real a shrine, put it in your hand and a shuffle, and then 5 mana. Ooh, it's Wooper. It's another Wooper Shrine Commander. Look, guys, we gave you 5 new shrines, so here's another 5-color Shrine Commander. Woohoo! As long as you're enthused. Oh yeah, look at that. You make a big old pile of 1/1s. Isn't that great, guys? Don't you want to play a Shrine Commander in 5 colors? Oh, well, you already have one of those? Well, have a second one. You need it for your Shrine deck. Great. It's strong but boring. It's good. It's just so boring. Like I said earlier, 5-color, do whatever the set design is my least favorite type of commander design, and here it is again, but this time it's shrines, which aren't even a main part of the set. There's a small uncommon archetype. Toph Earthbending Master, 4 mana, 2/4. Whenever land you control enters, you get an experience counter. Whenever you attack, Earthbend X is X the number of experience counters you have. Woo! Hello, Toph. Come on up here. We'll put her right beneath Appa. This card's phenomenal. Landfall, getting experience is really, really strong. There's no way to interact with that. And then whenever you attack, you Earthbend X. So it's not like she has to do the attacking. She can stay back and chill. Your gigantic army of land can be the ones that are attacking. Very cool card. It's going to do a lot of work in the 99. Going to do a lot of work in the command zone. Very cool card. All right, then we have Aang, a lot to learn. Welcome to the Draft Shaft, Aang, buddy. Katara, Seeking Revenge. Very pretty art on this one. 4 mana, 3/3. Initial cost to cast a spell, you may water bend 2. She enters, you draw a card, and then discard a card unless the initial cost was paid. She's +1/+1 for each lesson card in your graveyard. Great. Cool card for the lessons deck in Limited. Not what we're looking for here today, though. Next up, we have Zuko, Seeking Honor. This is a 3-mana 2/2 with Firebending 1. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Zuko gains first strike on end of turn. He deals out damage per player, put a counter on him. Oh, I'm sorry, Zuko, your Draft Shaft. It looks like we're ending pretty weak here, guys. The Terror of Serpent's Past. 7 mana, 8/8 hexproof. It exists. It's not chaff. It's fine. When Boomy enters, you earthbend 1. Whenever he attacks, put 2 counters on each land creature you control. Okay. This Boomy is fine. I think it's a card that exists. He's fine. He's a cool card for your lands matter deck. And with that, folks, we have the entire tier list. Whew. All 104 avatar cards that are legal as your commander ranked. Hopefully, well, theoretically, tomorrow when the rest of the set is spoiled, we're going to see a couple of uncommon or common legends pop up. Hopefully, none of them are as interesting as like the Brood Scale Commander one was. But this is great. I'm a big fan of how Avatar works out for Commander. None of the Commanders jump out at me as too ridiculous or really upset me really in any way. The two that I dislike the most, that I still are acknowledging are strong, is the Banned Katara and the 5-color Shrines Commander. But even like 5-color Aang is pretty fun, right? It's doing the set thing. It's cool. I don't hate it. I am super excited, however, to build Aang at the Crossroads and the Sokka and Suki. Lots of cool designs coming out of the Earthbending cards, too. So, thank you all so much for hanging out for this part of the stream. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. But if you're here on the stream, stick around. We got some more stuff coming for you after a quick break.